Welcome to the Stick 49ers podcast. I'm Lucas McLaughlin. Lucas Ortiz is not here with us tonight, but he'll be back next week. And I'm here with our former podcast member and good friend, Mike Arango. Mike, this was an atrocious loss. The Niners at home. The defense plays well enough to win the game in a must-win situation. And there was a lot of things going on there, so let's get into it. The Niners lose to the Rams 12-6. Mike, it all starts with too many targets to a guy that complained the previous week. I think that Deebo Samuel, you live by the sword, you die by the sword, but I don't think it was appropriate to be trying to force the ball to him in a game you needed to win when you had George Kittle, who, of course, has been performing all year and had a big play early and set up the first field goal. And it just seemed like Brock, too, we'll get into that too. Brock just couldn't, thread the needle on some of those throws. He's either overthrowing guys or underthrowing them. Or I also don't like the play calls on the interception in the end zone. Hufunga's taking balls to the chest when he could have got a big interception. Lenore missed a big pick. So things are just not going our way this year. How you doing, Mike?
I'm doing great, man. Thanks for having me on again. Miss you guys. Hopefully you guys are doing well. And yeah,
Always
man, it's
definitely being here.
My pleasure. Anytime. To reiterate on what you said, yeah, the game plan seemed out of whack to begin with. In all honesty, man, we were forcing the ball to Deebo. I understand he's been a Rams killer in the past, but let's face it, he doesn't have the same explosion that he used to have. And something happened to him, man. You would think that by losing weight, he lost like 15 pounds on the offseason. He's supposed to be lighter, faster, quicker. He's not getting into his breaks anymore. He's not making any type of separation whatsoever. I'm sure, he's putting his heart and soul out there. I'm sure. I don't think he's a lazy guy. I'm sure he's a very proud player. But come on, man, when you start yapping for the ball and you start asking for the ball more and you miss a wide open layup touchdown, you're no longer the same player that you were, because if he gets that ball and he's old Deebo would take that, explode, and just run right through. But, man, there were a few passes in this game he should have caught. He was targeted 11 times. He only caught 3. And, yeah, like you said, the game plan seemed out of whack, in all honesty, man. It seemed like we were trying to get him the ball over and over when we should be giving it to Kittle, who, is closing in on 1,000 yards for the second year in a row and the 4th time in his career. Kittle's closing in on 1,000. Let's get the ball to Kittle. He's been great lately, and when they throw the ball to him, he's a playmaker and he's a spark plug for the team. The other guys, Juwan Jennings didn't have the greatest day, but again, I'd rather be seeing him at this point, man. But he has the same problem that Deebo has. He doesn't get a lot of separation, and I think that's been an ongoing struggle for this 49er team the whole year. They don't separate, and it goes all the way back to the Chiefs game. The Chiefs lock down man-to-man coverage, and when you play the Niners man-to-man coverage, your chances of winning go up astronomically, especially this year.
Injuries have played a huge part in this season, obviously. Ayuk not being there alone, and even though he was struggling at the beginning, he's a great receiver, and having him there changes everything. So changes Brock Purdy's numbers, and then he's the guy you can throw deep to the end zone to. I don't know that should have even been that throw in the interception in the end zone was not only a bad throw in bad weather, which Brock Purdy has trouble in bad weather. We know that. Even the game he got hurt in, championship game, anytime it rains, his small hands, whatever is going on there. Pearsall, he underthrew Pearsall on an easy touchdown.
The only guy who gets separation nowadays. Pearsall, he's man-to-man.
He's either overthrowing guys or underthrowing them, especially in this kind of weather. And I didn't like that play call at all. The interception in the end zone. We need short plays where they have to yak. And
here's the thing:
try and get one in the end zone. It was unnecessary. It didn't seem like a good play call. And I blame Shanahan for that.
Well, here's the thing, man. He had 3 open receivers besides Juwan Jennings. Juwan Jennings, from what I understand, he got bumped. And when you look back, you can see he got bumped. It took him out of his route. He's not fast to catch up anyway. So if you play Juwan Jennings like in a bump and run style, you're probably going to win, because he's not the speediest receiver. So if you throw him off as kind of like you get in his way, throw him off a little bit, he wasn't, it threw him off his balance. He wasn't quick enough to catch up, so to speak. There were three other guys he could have thrown to on the top end of the field, and they were all for short yards, man. They
Yeah.
could have still gotten the first down on there. That's why that one's on Purdy, believe it or not. And yeah, you're right, man. I mean, you're looking at a guy who everyone's talking about giving him $60 million, and I'm a big Brock Purdy supporter. I think he's great at reading defense, but the problem is, like you kind of touched on earlier, he's not great at threading the needle. He doesn't have a strong arm, and you saw it in this game.
You saw it a lot last year when were good and they had all of his weapons at his disposal. This year it's been a different story, and not just because of the injuries, but his play is like it's kind of sporadic. Sometimes he's still having that instinctual play and makes a really great play. Sometimes he throws an interception and it'll throw off the game entirely. And I think it's really important to think about how much money we are going to pay him, because we're going to have money to pay other guys. And it was nice to see Greenlaw back in this game. Awesome. He uplifted the defense. The defense played well enough to win the game. They didn't allow a touchdown. So they would have been nice to get some of those interceptions for touchdowns, but that's really on them. Brock should have been able to orchestrate at least one drive to score a touchdown. I think it was that big interception that was the biggest problem. But yeah, I think when you think about paying him $250 million, there's a huge problem. And I bet you, this is my guess, he's going to want to play out his last year of his contract and just get money from Toyota or whatever. So he gave all those guys on the offensive line new cars. That's great. But, I think he's probably better off playing and having a better year next year to show people what he can do and then get the big contract than he is to negotiate a big contract after the dismal loss to the Rams at home in a game that was very winnable. Now, there's a bunch of losses that were very winnable this year.
That would be ideal. But the problem is he's risking an injury, and if you get injury, no one's going to want you after that.
That's true.
That's why he's not going to want it. But I love your idea. Let me tell you something. He's not going to want to do that. But if I'm the Niners, I am highly considered. It's to the Niners' benefit to do that. Let him play another year. Let's see what he's got, or even if they got to franchise him a year to make it happen.
Because then we can afford everyone else, right?
Yeah. Yep. Franchise him 1 year. He'll still make. He won't make the 50 million. He'll probably get about. I think it goes to like the top 5 or the top 3 players. You get an average of that, so he probably make about 50 million, 55 for 1 year. But then you kind of know what you have, and I don't know, man. I think if you franchise him for a year, it gives you more time to look at him.
Yeah.
If he has another season like this season, everyone's gonna say the same thing. He's not worth that money. To me, man, I know I like to see what your thoughts are, what your number is, what he's worth to me at the moment, because he's not the player you build around. I'm sorry to tell anyone this, but he's not like a Jordan Love. He's not the player you build around. You have to have that team. Like he's not the cornerstone. I just don't see him as that, man. I think he's a very good quarterback. I think when he's doing well, he's a top 10, maybe even top 5 or 3 when he's doing well. But again, the book is out on how you beat the 49ers. It's with press coverage. Brock Purdy, I think, is like number 1 or number 2 in the league against zone. Guess where he ranks against man-to-man? Like 28? Dude, that's dead to last.
And he's got to be able to get the ball out of his hands a lot quicker sometimes. I mean,
he doesn't have a quick release.
Yeah, he needs that. He needs it because on the games where he does kind of get rid of it faster, but then also that was when Deebo was playing better, like last year. So Deebo's a whole nother question. You complain about targets, you get all the targets, and you do nothing with it. Where does that leave you? I'm sure he's pretty depressed over this, but I'm sure a lot of fans, which I know, are a lot of fans are really upset about it because, you just gave the ball to Deebo instead of trying to win the game. Give the ball to Kittle. He's done a huge year all year. He's the only one that had good, decent numbers most games this year. So you should have had twice the amount of targets to Kittle. I don't like the play calling in this game. I mean, I think it was tough in the rain. It changes everything, but both teams have the same disadvantage. Obviously, they didn't score a touchdown either. They just wanted it a little more than the Niners, and I thought a lot of that had to do with trying to force the ball to Deebo when you could have been going to some other guys that probably wanted it a little more.
Most definitely. Most definitely. I mean, they need to get Ricky Parcells involved more, man. I mean,
Yeah,
he has shown some flashes, and he's a man beater.
and he was wide open
He,
when that you should have a
he's a
touchdown on that
man
play
beater.
that Purdy missed him on.
He's the guy the Niners have really because all here's the thing. The Niners lost him for most of the season. He had no OTAs, no practice, and they lost Ayuk. Those are their two guys that could beat man-to-man coverage. The other guy is supposed to be cowing.
Yeah.
You know what
He
I
had
mean?
huge plays from Jennings, which I commend, but he's not a number one receiver, and he became the number one receiver on this team. That tells you
Yeah,
that we're not going to make the playoffs, and we're not. I mean, it's too bad, because everyone as a Niner fan, you still want them to beat the Rams and still have that chance. But the way the season was going, we knew all these injuries have added up to us not going to the playoffs, and it's just one of those years where it's a tough season, and it's a tough sport, and it's a brutal sport. And that you're
yeah.
right about the whole thing. I was thinking about Brock probably should wait and play out another season. But yeah, what if he tears his ACL? I mean,
He's
yeah,
not
you're
going to
right
want to
about
do
that.
that.
He
Yeah,
probably just want to get as much money as he can, which is going to be a lot less, most likely,
yeah.
unless
I,
someone else wants to come pick him up, which I guess could happen, right?
I don't think anyone's going to offer him 50, 60 million though. I don't think anyone else would offer him 60. I'll be honest with you. And I've given this a lot of thought. The thing is, in the NFL, it's not necessarily best quarterback doesn't necessarily get paid the most money. I mean, you got Mahomes right now making 45 million. You got Dak Prescott making 60. It's what the market dictates.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? It's what the market dictates. So from Purdy's standpoint, from his agent standpoint, who's his agent happens to be a hard ass, by the way,
yeah.
from his standpoint, they're basically going to double dare you and be like, well, what are you going to do without him? The same way Ayuk's agent did. I believe they have the same agent, actually, by the way.
Honestly,
But
if you had Shanahan in the room and he could say whatever he wanted and no one had to ever hear it, I wonder if he would say Sam Darnold has the same skills.
if Sam Darnold has the same
And
what?
he's the same skills as Purdy.
He doesn't read defense as well, but he has a much better arm.
He has the stronger arm. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, he has a much better. He has a better release. He can actually run faster too. He's
It
not
kicks
as
our ass.
he's mobile in a different way. He's more like a straight line runner, where like Purdy could do the little scramble motion, but he's got a much more elite. He has an elite arm, and he's having a good year. But it's also because of the system that they're running too, that apparently caters to his skill set.
Yeah.
You know, there's a
So
lot of things wrong with our team right now, man. Yeah,
there's a lot of
another
problems.
thing is Purdy's not allowed to make audibles.
Yeah.
He's
Okay.
one of
That
the
was
few.
my next thing. Yeah. Not
If
only is he not allowed, he doesn't have the skills for it. That's also a thing that works against him because if you watch most really good quarterbacks, when they get to the line of scrimmage, they look at the defense and they say, oh, okay, I'm going to click my heel twice. Someone's going to go in motion. And now I'm going to say this. And they all know we're doing something different, right? But he doesn't have that ability. What they do for him, apparently, is they say, if you think it's going to be not, if you're not going to work with play A, here's play B.
yeah, he has
There's
an
no
out
like,
for
you can't be like,
yeah.
oh, no, 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 we need to do this. Like Montana would be the master at that, right? Like, oh,
Calls an
no,
audible
no, we're
for
gonna have
everyone.
to
Yeah,
we're gonna put Jerry in motion, and then he'll be wide open on this side. But with Purdy, you're right. He doesn't call actual audibles. It's more like, oh, let's try play B instead.
throw to the out. He gets an
Yeah.
out on every player.
They need
This
to
guy,
work with him, and he needs to learn how to
yeah,
do that. I mean,
yeah,
that's a
and they're not.
huge
That's
problem.
not that doesn't go under the quote unquote Kyle Shanahan system, so he doesn't run that.
Yeah,
Yeah, Montana was the king of audible back in the
yeah.
days, and after that, Peyton Manning did what Joe Montana did to a different level. He did
Brett Favre
individual
too.
audibles
It
for
was
individual
good calling
players.
audibles. Yeah,
Just ridiculous the
yeah,
way they would do it.
exactly right. He knew
And
exactly how to orchestrate the offense
Jordan Love
to
is doing it right now. Not to tune on
battle
Jordan Love,
shift the
but I like his
defense.
skill set. Jordan Love's
Yeah,
already doing it. He was doing it last year all year.
he
And
has
he's
that
been
skill
good
set.
and he's been successful doing it. That's the thing. He does get a little erratic. He's a little more erratic than Brock Purdy, but he can put up similar numbers in a way. Maybe not the rating, but it is what it is, man. That there's a lot of things that the Niners really need to consider going into next year. You have a whole plethora of players that need new contracts. You got Dre Greenlaw, who they want to sign. I mean, you saw in this game, he played fantastic the first half. And what happened when he got hurt in the second half? They ran up the ball up the middle.
What I like about Greenlaw coming back is that he uplifts the defense. Even guys that don't play as well are playing better because he's on the field. You need guys like
Most
that. and that's
Yeah.
huge, right? That's Warner, even Fred Warner is playing better because he's got his boy next to him who he knows
Yeah.
is really
Of
freaking good.
course.
So the problem with that is they played him too many plays, especially on this surgically
Yeah. They
repaired
wasted him out.
play. You can't do that to a guy that, of course, they want to win the game, but if you really want to win, you put him in a few plays each quarter. You know what I mean? Like, and make him do really well instead of making him really tired and probably almost about to bust his knee because he's compensating for different muscles. Um,
Yeah.
and that you
He
can't
wasn't
do.
used to
And he
playing
was
like
hurting
that.
by the end of that game, and he took
Yeah,
himself
man.
out of the game, which is almost unheard of for
Yeah.
Greenlaw.
He was
Hey,
cramping up, and you rushed him back too much, man. You were giving him every single rep. I mean, I'm sure if you just take him off maybe like 25% of the reps, even you're still saving him. He might have been able to finish the game. And again, like you mentioned too, he's basically a spark plug for that defense. Also, I
yeah,
think having him back, having Hufanga back, you saw what the defense was capable of.
exactly.
And if you throw in a good D line, another good D linesman there, that defense could be elite again
And
one day.
it made the Rams play differently. The fact that Greenlaw was there, and hey, you're listening to and tuning into the Stick 49ers podcast. I'm Lucas McLaughlin here with Mike Arango, and Iron Mike was nice enough to fill in for Lucas Ortiz, who couldn't make it this time, but he'll be back soon. Yeah, thanks for tuning in, and please like and subscribe. So, Mike, we move on to the next game, and now we have a lot of dilemmas, right? Because ultimately, if you were you and I would say, all right, let's just play all the scrubs and see, what happens, and hopefully we get a better draft pick. But of course, they're in the NFL; they don't want to do that, and people want to win games. So, what do you think happens next, and how do we beat Miami if that's what we want to do?
But I think it's a culture thing too. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
You have a
yeah,
certain culture in
pride,
place.
right?
You want to set the example for young players that we do not give up here. We do not, we're not the Jets. No offense to the Jets organization, but
Yeah,
yeah, we're not the Browns. All those teams that for years they just lose and lose and lose the lines. How they were back in the past, not now. But yeah, we don't want to be that team. We don't strive for that. We want to show that we can play. And
this is a
Miami's
good
an interesting
episode
matchup.
for you because you're in Florida, so
Yeah, I am. I
I'm
might
sure.
even make it out to the game. I'm hoping to make it out to the game
Oh,
actually.
nice. You're
Um,
probably thinking this is an easy win, right?
Miami fans, man, Miami's not making the playoffs either. That's the
Oh,
thing.
that's
They
right.
have like
Okay.
they have a 6% chance, but their offense is capable of being explosive. Now their defenses, for lack of a better term, you know what, dog shit, basically. Their defense is
Okay.
horrendous, by the way. It's terrible. If the 49ers cannot score multiple touchdowns in this game, there's just something evidently wrong with this team. But again, it comes down to, like you said, who do we want to play? I mean, there's some players that need the reps. Like Ricky Parcells going to need the reps. Cowing needs the reps. I think that's supposed to be your deep guy too, man. And he showed it in the preseason. Start throwing the ball to County. Maybe find out what you have in Mordecai, one of the backup QBs. Maybe activate him
Yeah.
and play him a little bit. At this point, yeah, we want to try and win the game. If it was me personally, I am treating this game like a preseason game. If
Yeah.
it was me, that's
Should we play
honestly what I
Greenlaw
would
in
do.
this game, Mike?
That's a great question,
And or
man.
is he too hurt now?
He's gonna play
Oh,
and
okay.
he wants to play. I'd give him some reps, but it wouldn't surprise me if they just shut him down. I mean, you
Can't
he's
risk
going to
the
want to
future.
play because if the Niners don't sign him, which I think the Niners are going to sign him, the
Yeah.
Niners want to sign him. Kyle Shanahan has been very open about it. That's the one player he probably doesn't want to lose.
Yeah.
Everyone this week's been saying wonderful. They don't want to lose him. But if you're Greenlaw, you definitely are forcing Kyle's hand to play him. You want to know why? Because he's playing for next season to see what he has.
That's true. And
So if he's not a
Greenlaw is a player
Niner,
that plays with his heart. I
yeah,
like that he's out there just playing as
he
hard as
and
he
if he
can.
and if he's not a Niner, then you got to play for another team. You want to show off to the other team.
Yeah, for
You get what
sure.
I'm saying?
Yeah.
He's gonna have to play at least. I would start. I would just probably wouldn't put him the whole game. I might play him a half,
Yeah.
and then another half the next game, and then just let him go nuts on the last game
Now,
of the
as
season.
much as I like Greenlaw, he's been hurt a lot. I mean, it's not just this season. I mean, he's missed a lot of games, and that's partly because he gives up his body
Violent.
for the game. He's ready to just give anything he has to win a game, which is awesome. But it's I agree to resign him, but also injuries. He gets hurt a lot. I mean, hopefully, if they re-sign him, he'll be on the field more and keep him healthy and bring in some other guys to assist.
Well, he's such a violent player. I remember doing a podcast about 4 years ago, and some guy named Luke mentioned that he was just like a shot in the arm. You know, if you remember saying that.
Yeah.
That was you. And bro, that's really, and me and you back then, we were always talking about like, why isn't this guy a starter? Why isn't this guy a starter?
Oh yeah.
You know,
Wow.
and finally he became the starter. And it's really a shame, man. The guy's a great player. He's been snubbed from the Pro Bowl twice already. He should have been all pro twice already.
It's crazy.
You know, and he's never gotten one, and he's 28 years old, 27 years old,
That's
turning
right.
28. You know, I give him a 3-year deal because I'm convinced that he's going to be the same player that he was.
Yeah.
I'm very convinced that he is. But there's a lot of people to sign, man. Hufanga is a restricted free agent.
A big contract, which is a good thing they did.
Yeah, no, that was great because Lenore turned out to be a great player. There's some guys that they got to cut. There's some guys that they got to sign. You want to sign? I think you want to sign Hufanga, man. I think you saw how the defense plays better when Hufanga is there. It's 2 games in a row.
Yeah,
he's better than Jair Brown, and the rookie Malik. There's no comparison there. He's way better than Jair Brown already.
Yeah.
So, but I think Jair Brown is good.
I like that he came back and has played well, and he should have that interception. But you know, things happen.
Remember, he had a broken finger or something. Like that. Yeah, he had a cast. You can't totally put that on him.
That's true.
Moving forward, I like that tandem. You got 3 good safeties. They have depth there. You know, I think they have another linebacker. They're hopeful for also. You gotta get rid of Flanagan Fowles. He's useless. They're gonna get rid of DeAndre Campbell. He's useless. They're probably going to lose Jalen Moore. Believe it or not, he's played pretty good the last few games on the O-line. And so someone's going to pay him. So he's a restricted free agent, but someone's going to offer him because he plays tackle also. He plays tackle, and I think he plays some center.
Oh, wow.
He's probably going to get upwards of 10, 15, they're saying.
Wow.
If that's the case, we're going to lose him. I feel like we did find someone in Barch.
Yeah.
Barch,
he's playing well.
He's playing well. He's playing well. We found someone in Pooney. You know, as bad as the O-line has been, as bad as the O-line's been, it hasn't been atrocious either.
Yeah.
But they're kind of like on and off. McKivitz he signed another year. They're going to let him ride out that contract. But you got to look past McKivitz too eventually. But he's just not very good. Yeah. You know, and they got to draft the center unless they're going to make March a center.
And Trent Williams is great, but you know, he's getting older. And of course we want him. He's basically your best player, but he's another one of those huge injuries towards the end, or not even towards the end. It's been a huge factor this year and why they're not going to advance, you know?
Yeah.
You wonder if he was playing in those last couple games. We may be on a totally different, you know, the run game might have taken off because of him.
The run game would have been much better, because we would have run behind him.
Open up the pass. And even in a rain game especially, you could end up having Orlando have a huge game and get a couple touchdowns. So,
well, apparently we're not good without, you know, back in the days, there was a time that we weren't good without Deebo, if you remember, when we were on a losing streak. And that, but, you know, studies show basically, you know, when Trent Williams doesn't play, we're not the same team, man. We're not. And here's the thing, man, when you start looking at next year's draft, the Niners still have a core set of players that are really great players that you can build around, that you can compete next year for a Super Bowl again. But here's the catch. You're going to lose at least one player that you love this year that most of us love. I think it's going to be Charvarius Ward, since he had a down year, because he's going to make 15, 18 million somewhere else.
Yeah.
You know, I don't think the Niners are going to match that.
No,
I don't think they can. And especially the only way they match that is if like Purdy plays for like 40 million.
Yeah.
Which is going to be a smack on the face. Now, I think he's worth about 40, 45.
Now, what about running backs? Because obviously Mason, we need him, and I think he's probably under contract. But who's the other one who we have on IR?
He's another one they got to sign, dude. They got to sign Mason again. He's done.
He used to be our main running back that's on IR right now.
Oh, Elijah Mitchell. He's getting cut. You already know that.
Team? He's still on the team?
Yeah, he's technically still on the team. You can't cut him yet.
What if he comes back and starts playing?
He's not going to come back and start playing.
Is he? I mean, what's wrong? He's
That
just
guy's
hurt.
as hurt as LaShawn Lattimore, if you remember him. You know what I
Still,
mean? Like
yeah,
he's just.
okay. You forgot
I
his
feel bad
name.
for him because he plays hard. You know, Elijah Mitchell's
Yeah,
a good little football player.
he's
They're not
great.
gonna.
He's
He'd
probably
have to
done.
take a huge discount. And again, dude, the guy comes. He plays one game and he gets hurt.
He always
And
gets
it's every
that's right.
year, one game. He always gets hurt in one game. Two
But
years
that's the
now in a
thing.
row. Where
Greenlaw is like kind of along those lines. I mean,
Greenlaw
how
will
many
play
games did he play in the last 2 years? Probably a
I think he
handful.
missed like two. I don't. I'd have to look it up right now online, but I think
That's
he
all
only
right.
missed like two games the year we went to the Super Bowl. Though I don't think he didn't miss much that year. But the thing is, we had a great backup. We have Al
Yeah,
Shahir.
yeah. So
You know,
if you play this like a preseason game against Miami,
I
what are
think
the
we
keys?
do.
What's the key to victory? And what's your final score?
I'm playing it like if it's a preseason game. I'll start Brock Purdy because I still think that he needs to grow as a player a little bit too. So I'll play Brock Purdy maybe a half. And
Okay.
then after that, I don't think I'm playing him much anymore after that. I think you play him a half. Um, Garendo's going to be out this game.
Oh, that's right.
So Patrick Taylor now becomes our number
Taylor.
one running back. And then they got a
He's
rookie
not
that was,
bad.
no,
He's
he's
got
good,
that
but he's
low
not
center of
consistent.
gravity. Yeah.
He's super explosive. He's like an inconsistent Mozart. Like he's super explosive. He's
Yeah.
explosive like Mozart, but he's inconsistent and he runs way too upright. Like I'm a running backs guy. That was my position in high school. He runs way too upright. You know, he's not. He doesn't go down. You're gonna. He
Yeah.
takes crucial, brutal hits if you watch him play.
Especially
He's
with
gonna
that
have to
low
change
center
that at
of
some
gravity,
point.
right? I mean, he's got to
Yeah,
go
no,
side to side more, and he doesn't.
yeah, and he doesn't crouch down like become like a little bowling ball when you're gonna get hit, like Frank
Yeah.
Gore used to do sometimes.
Yeah.
Well, Frank Gore usually laying out the hits himself, but he doesn't know how to get hit. That's an issue.
Yeah.
But after him, you got Patrick Taylor. Patrick Taylor. And then you got a second year player that the Jets drafted and they cut.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
And they drafted him in the fifth round. I
From the
haven't seen him
practice
play, but
squad? It was a
yeah,
cut?
he's going to be activated this game.
Okay.
Maybe they give him a few reps.
Yeah,
I
he
don't
does.
know. Patrick Taylor, you know what he is. He's just a bull. He's just a bull. You know what I mean? He's
Yeah.
a one/cut bull. I kind of like him as a change of pace a little bit. If you want to put a slow truck in there, to me, he's more like a fullback.
Give
You
us
know what I
your
mean?
final
But
score, Iron Mike, for this game.
this could go either way. This is a really tough question, man. It could go either way because Miami has a 6% chance of making it to the playoffs. The Niners have like a 1% chance, but the Niners need the Seahawks and the Rams to lose out both 2 games in a row each, and then they got a tie
It's never gonna
when they
happen.
play each other. I believe at the end of the year they need a tie, and that's where it's not going to happen
No.
because I can see the Seahawks losing out.
Yeah,
I
I
don't see
could too,
the
but
Rams
there's not
losing
going
out.
to be a tie.
Yeah, there's not going to be a tie. I mean, you're
That would
looking at.
be the craziest thing in history.
So, in other words, what I'm telling you is Miami's coming in trying to make the playoffs, and we're not.
Yeah.
So I think that tells you everything you need to know right there. But I know Kyle Shanahan doesn't want to lose.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So knowing Kyle Shanahan, he's gonna start everyone. He's not gonna care.
He doesn't care. Exactly.
He doesn't care. He's gonna start everyone. He's gonna try
And
and
Purdy
win.
is going to be out there showing people that he needs the big contract. So you're going to have
Yeah,
first
and this is
quarter
the
was
game to do it.
two touchdown passes.
This is the game to do it. Remember, you're playing against a team that has 0-0-0-0 defense. I'm gonna say the Niners win. But by like a field goal, something like that.
So what?
I got the Niners winning
14, 17.
2017 in a bore fest of a game, a little bit of a bore fest of a game. Turnovers on both sides.
Yeah,
and there'll be some fumbling going around with these new running backs, man.
Yeah,
Patrick Taylor's a backup for a reason. You know what I mean?
We'll see. I mean, I think it's going to be. I think Purdy's going to be out there trying to make a point for his case for a bigger contract. He's going to have one of his better games. He's going to throw 2 or 3 touchdowns, and Greenlaw is also going to be out there trying to make a case for a big contract, and he's going to have a big first quarter before his knee starts to hurt. And then because it's not the leg that they repaired. He said it's actually he was afraid of his knee giving out. That's why he stopped playing.
Yeah, I mean, when you hurt one muscle, it
Compensate
affects
things.
all your
Yeah,
other
totally.
muscles that are
Yeah,
connected
yeah,
to it. So
yeah,
it makes total sense, man.
yeah.
And I'm sure it's just not the same. He's gonna take a little while, man.
Yeah,
You
totally.
know, you gotta pamper him back in there. You don't just throw him the whole game like the way we did. I think he should be on a pitch count. I do.
I think it's going to be 28-27. Niners win it in overtime.
28-27 in OT. I could see it going to OT.
Yeah.
You know, one more thing about the Greenlaw thing, man. What if he gets hurt again? Now he's out all of next year. You ruin his career.
Yep. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But he knows he wants to make a case to say, resign me. I'm a good coach, and he is.
Yeah, but he said it himself. He said himself after the game, "I can't keep getting injured like this."
Yeah, exactly.
I think he's a little sick of it too.
Yeah, totally. So there you have it. We both predicted the 49ers to win miraculously, and Lucas Ortiz is on assignment, but we'll be back next week. And Mike Arango, Iron Mike, thanks so much for joining us here on the Stick 49ers podcast. And thanks for everyone for listening and tuning in. And definitely hit like and subscribe. And so we can continue to provide you with the top content, exclusive 49ers content throughout the season. And Mike, have a great night, and thanks so much for joining us, man. Great to see you.
Thank you, man. You and your family, happy holidays, and
happy holidays.
I was hoping we'd make the playoffs so we could, have a nice little reunion, but maybe next year.
Yeah. All right, man. Go Niners.
Go Niners.
Take care.